Just when you think these comic books are sold out everywhere, you end up finding what you're looking for. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and in this video I'm going to open up an order of comic books that I placed with G-Mart Comics. G-Mart Comics has been good to me over the years, and unfortunately for me, I often forget about G-Mart when I'm on the hunt for comic books. And what ends up happening is you'll see this cyclical process within the comic book collecting community where a particular title or issue takes off for one reason or another, and then everybody scrambles and everyone goes to their favorite auction site, eBay, or another honey hole that they won't talk about, and end up scooping up the last issue available of this particular title or issue. And this happens every so often. It's not necessarily at a fixed time frame, but it does feel like this happens maybe every month, every 6 weeks, something like that. And in this order, I've got some of those books to kind of go over where I had maybe given up on these books' availability. I didn't feel like buying them off of eBay or participating in an eBay auction and waiting. I just went through my online sources, and sometimes the last place I look is G-Mart Comics, and they end up having some of these books available. So I want to get to the unboxing and show you what I picked up. But the moral of the story here is keep searching. And there does come a time where you have to kind of give up and move on to a different book or a different title. You know, when that power of FOMO is so strong and it's eating away at you, a lot of times you don't want to give up. You want to keep searching. And I would definitely recommend to keep searching, keep your eyes open. Check a lot of the stores that I buy from. Some are better than others in terms of quality and condition. But from an availability standpoint, it is certainly possible that some of these sources could have the books that you're looking for. And I think as a collector, you kind of know when you've exhausted all of your own resources and you've done all you could have to try and hunt down a comic book. Especially if you're hunting online, there's probably a finite number of methods and sources that you have or that you're willing to spend money on. And then you kind of know when you need to walk away from that search and realize, okay, this really wasn't the book for me. I'll keep my eyes out later. It's possible that with some patience, this book could come back around. But let me show you the books that I picked up from G-Mart, and I'll tell you why I picked them up. All right, here is the box that contains my order from G-Mart Comics. G-Mart will ship UPS. Like everywhere that I order, I try to unlock free shipping. Free shipping kind of kicks in for G-Mart, I believe, around $75. So I wanted to make sure that I unlocked free shipping. It's great to get UPS. The only catch with this order is I did place it middle to late June, so it took several weeks for them to fulfill the order, and there is a blurb on their website that talks about how they are a little bit behind in fulfilling orders based on staffing issues. So my order was not progressing, and I did get nervous that some of these books that I did really want to acquire, because they've since sold out pretty much everywhere else since I checked out with G-Mart and paid for them. So I was happy to finally see that the order was not only fulfilled, but shipped out and delivered. So let's go ahead and get this opened up. All right, let's see what I got. The first book is Hulk Annual #1. This is the 2023 annual. This is the variant cover. And I was searching for Hulk Annual 1 because there was a lot of hype and speculation around this book being the true first appearance of the Eldest. Incredible Hulk is a series that I'm interested in reading. I have issue #1 sitting around somewhere that I want to jump on. But I've heard really good things about the series, and the Eldest playing a role in this series and him making the first appearance in Hulk Annual 1. I think it was originally talked about as a preview, And when I heard that, I wasn't really interested because I'm not really into collecting previews or ads of first things. But then I don't know who in the community officially decided. They didn't ask me to decide, but there was some other Illuminati in the community that judged and said this is actually the first appearance of the L list in Hulk Annual. So I wanted to grab it, and I was having trouble finding it, and G-Mart happened to have it. And this is the variant cover, and this is Hulk Annual #1. And I think this is the cover that most are familiar with, cover A, or the main cover, illustrated by the ultra talented Gary Frank, who's now coming back to do covers like this for Marvel after his run on Geiger with Scott Snyder. And I've always loved Gary Frank's art, so really menacing depiction of Hulk here. And I remember first seeing this thing, oh, it's a cool cover, but I don't know about an annual. Don't really know if I want to pick up a Hulk annual. And sure enough, there's something significant in there. And now I have one copy of cover A and cover B. And like I was saying earlier, it was making me nervous just because these books had been sold out, and a lot of hype artists online, they kept pushing Hulk Annual #1 over and over and over. But for me, it was a combination of that plus being interested in the new Incredible Hulk series, and wanted to make sure that if there was going to be kind of a main character that was going to be introduced and be talked about during the course of the series, that I secured the first appearance. So I was happy to get these. Next up is World Tree #2. This is the Romero 1 in 25. And this is a combination of just a cover I wanted to have, a series that I'm enjoying, not only reading, but collecting, and a cover that I think has some long-term potential. This cover is just creepy, super creepy, but super awesome. Reminds me a little bit of what one of the characters from Nice House on the Lake is like, but saw this and was like, wow, just if you're into the series and into these types of stories, for me, this cover was a must-have. Now, I got a little nervous. It was a 1 in 25. I did see it on eBay. It wasn't that it was sold out everywhere, hard to find, but as I was putting this order together from G-Mart, they happened to have it, and I probably paid at or above fair market value for it. This was not a book that was on sale per se at some clearance or steep discount, as it is a new book. But this is one of those covers that I'll probably keep looking for just because I love it so much. And there's actually a full art version that's a store exclusive, which makes it kind of odd. Like, I feel like even though the store exclusive is limited, or at least they say that it's limited, in the long run, the incentive should be harder to find, but I think it does depend on the number of issues that are produced and sold and so forth. So I may, just as a backup plan, hedge my bets and also look for the full art store exclusive of this. But regardless, happy to secure this copy of World Tree #2, the 1 in 25 Romero variant. Next is another series that I was kind of hinting at during the intro of this video, Void Rivals #1. This also is a 1 in 25. And I had a little panic moment where I saw that G-Mart was running out of the regular issues, and I was having a hard time finding just cover A for cover price. I saw that it was being snatched up online everywhere. But G-Mart had the 1 in 25 here at ratio. And so I went ahead and grabbed it. And then also, this should be, Void Rivals #1. This is the 1 in 10. And this series, if you don't know about it or haven't read it, I don't want to spoil too much about it for you, about what's inside. But I missed the boat completely. I saw it during FOC and pre-order, didn't understand what Void Rivals was. I should have paid attention to the fact that it's written by Robert Kirkman and trusted that it was worth at least buying a couple of issues and reading the first issue, because if I had read it, I probably would have jumped on right away and picked up more issues. So I'm kind of backtracking on some of these: Hulk Annual, some World Tree books, Void Rivals. And this is kind of my process. It's never give up, so to speak, where there's probably a way to at least secure the books at worst case for me, cover price or fair market value. Again, not getting huge discounts or deals with these, but at the moment, I noticed that they were being purchased other places where it was creating this atmosphere that these were hard to find. So I caved and ended up buying these from G-Mart. All right, a couple more to go. This is Wonder Woman number 800. I was tipped off by Professor Salt on this book. Thought it was cool. Didn't realize that this one was not hard to find, but it was more affordable at G-Mart than other places. This is a 1 in 25 variant as well of the milestone Wonder Woman 800th issue. Now, this last book, this ended up just being a cover buy. And for me, a lot of times, if I see a cover and I love it, I don't expect everyone that's collecting to also love it with me. But then there are times where I see a book like this or a cover like this, and I'm like, everybody's going to fall in love with this. And I think I was first interested in this book when I saw it on social media. I follow a lot of comic book artists that I love, a lot of great cover artists, and what they'll do is when they are allowed to, they will show an image of the art that they've worked on or completed, or the cover, the fully completed cover, and they'll talk about what it is and when it's coming out because they're proud of their work. And I'll turn on alerts for these artists and things like that. So I use Instagram specifically for that reason. And this is a book with cover art by Tula Lotay, who I adore. I think her art is amazing and fantastic. She recently joined Distillery, so there's that whole Distillery motion happening where they're at San Diego Comic-Con. They're kind of like launching their line of creator-owned properties and comics and so forth. So check that out if you're interested. But this was just kind of a convergence of favorite artist, favorite title, high ratio incentive, and just a cover that I think, whether you love Tula Lotay or not, I think this is just going to be one of those covers that people are going to be interested in for a long time. And this is Something is Killing the Children, number 30, the Tula Lotay 1 in 100 retailer incentive variant. And I saw it and was like, man, the overall presentation of the art and the colors, yes, but just the eyes really is what drew me into this one right there. And there's also a foil version of this, so if you like this cover, you can search online for the foil version. Then the foil version is not as expensive as the 1 in 100. And I'm talking about like what I paid for these and whether I got a discount or a good deal. Let me show you exactly what I paid for these, and I'll compare those costs to the current fair market value and check to see if there's any values if I were to get any of these books graded. All right, here are the details of the order that I placed with G-Mart Comics back on June 21st, 2023. I was invoiced $172.43 for the 7 books in this order, and you can see exactly what I paid for them. I did not pay for shipping since I was well over the $75 to unlock free shipping on these. And there was also no tax, so that also worked in my favor. So what I do is in column U over here, you can see the fair market value of these books provided by cover price. With all of these being brand new books, you can kind of assume that the fair market value is near mint or 9698 candidate, and was happily surprised to see the Something is Killing the Children 30, the Lotay variant, already hitting 210. I don't think that is currently accurate. I think you can find this for a lot less, but even though I paid $90 for a 1 in 100, it's still under ratio technically, and I think it's selling more for around 125. But just to leave the fair market value in there provided by cover price, as of the recording of this video, it's $210. So what I like to do is take column Z, which is the total cost of all the books, plus tax, plus shipping. In this case, it's pretty much the cost of the book because there wasn't any tax or shipping, and then compare those values here in this raw value column. And lo and behold, I have added $117.50 of value when comparing the cost of the comics in this order against cover price's fair market value. Now, if you drop off $100 and say it's really only worth 110 because that's what it's selling for now, then it becomes kind of a break-even situation, and that's okay. That's fine. I wanted to acquire these books not just because they had immediate fair market value, but because I believe in the long run, Void Rivals, the Hulk Annual, and that Lotay cover specifically are going to hold their value, hopefully increase, but at least hold their value. Now, those Void Rivals books specifically, although I'm still personally having a hard time finding them, the fair market value isn't as much as you would think. They're actually beneath ratio. The 1 in 10 Scalera variant is $7. I paid $12.49, and the 1 in 25 Darbo variant is only worth 20, and I paid 25 for that one. Same goes for World Tree number 2. Frankly, the fair market value doesn't matter to me at all on this one. I think that cover is fantastic, so I'm very happy to have acquired a high grade copy of it. I paid full ratio at $25 for that 1 in 25. Cover price is reporting it only at 13 bucks. The Hulk annuals have popped a bit. Cover A, which, when in doubt, go with cover A. I spent $4.99 cover price to acquire that book, and coverprice.com is reporting the fair market value of that book at 19. Cover B, not as nice as the Gary Frank cover, but I think still it's going to carry some weight because the character doesn't appear on the cover anyway, so it doesn't matter so much. It's more about the character's story in the interior, and again, spent $4.99 cover price, and the book currently has a fair market value of $9. So it's really coming down to the Lotte, Something is Killing the Children, number 30. The Wonder Woman 800, I spent $10 on that. Cover price says it's worth 12, so that's more or less the same. A small, modest $2 value add, but it's really around the Lotte issue 30. And unfortunately, it was just one of those have to have it sort of moments, because I'm such a fan. When you see these artists that you're a fan of and they actually produce these higher end incentives, or a book that maybe there's a limited quantity, sometimes you just have to do whatever it takes to acquire that particular book. That Lotte cover may go down as my favorite cover of hers all time. I can think of a handful of other covers that I love that she's done, but that was just amazing. And I keep thinking of the Jenny Frison Sandman Universe Nightmare Country number 1, where I'm like, as much as I am a Jenny Frison fan, to me that's one of her greatest covers. So sometimes I get in this mode where I'm hunting for a cover artist or something like that, and then a lot of times I see something that even just kind of goes beyond just the chasing of that artist, and it's, like I said, it's just a convergence of all of these things: title, character, artist, and wonderful creative artwork on the cover. Now, if I want to take these books a step further and think about, whether or not I were to get any of these professionally graded, we can certainly plug them in. There may not be a lot of data on these books right now just because they are so new. And yeah, in column V, you'll see there's no fair market value for these books graded, but I am curious to see if any of these have value in a 9.8 yet. And yeah, this is where the market's weird. If you wanted, apparently the Something is Killing the Children 30 Lotte, there's a reported sale of $63 in a 9.8, so I feel pretty silly for spending $90 on it when I could have just picked it up slab. So maybe I'll keep my eye out on that if that value is accurate. And the Hulk annual number 1, I think it's picked up enough steam where people are considering slabbing it. 9.8 of that book is $53. So if I were to send these books in, for grading, and they had a chance at 9.8, and just looking at the books that have value, of course, it would have been a big loss because I spent $90 on a $63 book, and the fees and all of that, it's going to eat away at the value. But a $15.33 gain on the Hulk annual number 1. So still, I think the book's just being so new, there's just not a lot of graded value to really compare to say, okay, did I pick up some good raw books that have potential value if graded by CGC? We're just not quite there yet. But this is an example of some of the titles and books that I was talking about in the intro, where a specific issue pops, a title pops, becomes popular, and what I end up doing is I will search to an extent, and then once I've kind of exhausted my search, or I feel like I've now moved from searching for comic books to chasing comic books, and I can almost emotionally feel that switch. I can feel the almost the desperation that kicks in when I feel like I'm not going to be able to find this book ever, and I start to go to places online that I shouldn't to look for comic books, and that's when I know I need to stop and I need to replace desperation with patience, because I have often found that if you wait it out, you'll start to see these books come back around. Everyone that was fortunate to grab these books early and pre-order them, they realize that the books are getting popular, they'll start to flood the market. It's a simple supply and demand. And I haven't seen a book in recent memory completely disappear from the market and then reappear with $100, $200, $300 slabs or very few raws going up on eBay. I think that we kind of know where the market is right now. And there are many of us that have seen books like that in the past. And so what we're thinking is that it'll just happen again, right? And it's not right now. It's really not. So if you're into Void Rivals or you're looking for that Hulk annual, keep searching, avoid FOMO. And when you feel that desperation kick in, just take a step back, breathe, wait it out, and odds are that book will come back around to you. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and see you next time.